right. Hello, hello. I don't know if we're streaming yet. Digital. Okay, so you can see me. I'm trying to get this up there really quick. Trying to see. I try to run it on my TV at the same time just so I can. All right. I'll give everybody. I'll give everybody just a second to get back in here. Okay, good. You see me. Let me invite. Let me put this link up here. And let me see, where did I post that? Okay, 4Pitts, just. And if I have some Yahoo that wants to come in here and try to get on, I'm not going to put you. You'll be sitting in the back room because nobody is on here without an invitation tonight except 4Pitts, okay? I hate that this happened, but we'll see if he gets better service. All right. Raggedy Susan, I can see and hear you. Good. Just Deb, hello again. Yes, hello. What a mess. All right, so if it turns out that it's Evie Mux, I'm done. I'm done with that. I'll just use StreamYard, I guess. I know sometimes it gets glitchy though, so that's why Evie Mux is usually not that way. All right, 4Pitts. Where are ya? Hello, Lambert. How you doing? I know I turned my fan off now, y'all, because apparently on this platform, for whatever reason, my mic picks up the fan, and so you might see me sweating. Yeah, there is some conflict going on, y'all. I put a video about that out earlier today. Let's not continue it. Okay, on your end you could only hear. See, that's what it was hard for me too, and I'm going straight into the stream. Did you have any problem hearing me? Because I could hear me, but I was picking up the same thing, so I don't know if it was just him or his connection. I mean, I don't know. Or is it gremlins? I don't know. Jinxie, are you in here? Okay, you could hear me just fine. So yeah, I don't know. Let me see if there's any. Yes, there's so many trolls. I'm on Discord at the same time. Yeah, I know, Digital. Maybe he should just do audio. I thought Kip Kitty. Oh, okay. Yes. Well, the reason I didn't do Kip Kitty as a mod, Jinx, is just because simply because I know CJ and I are on at the same time most of the time, and I know she mods for him, and so and I know you do too. But Jinx, you mod for everybody, darling. So I don't know. Is 4Pitts. There are a lot of trolls, okay? There are a lot of trolls in here. I know, and some. I think he's trying to come back on now. Well, what? Okay, here we go. Can you hear me? Wow.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so maybe it was the platform. Evie Mux was that, because I can see you and hear you really well. Oh, thank God. All right. So good. Yeah. All right, let's so what were we talking about?
Well, I'm not sure, but I kind of want to go towards like all these people that resigned and stuff, like during the Flora fires and the Delphi, stepping down during the Delphi case. Like I guess I just want to, explained how many of Delphi's most important players stepped down, as far as Adam, Denny, Randall, Rob Ives, and then Judge Diener. Like
Why
this,
do you think they did?
I don't think they'd been there so long. Like Ives has had 2 terms at least as prosecutor in Delphi, and same with Denny. He was sheriff at least 2 terms, I know. But they played a big part of that community for 40 years.
Wow.
So I don't know if they were old enough to where they just didn't want to mess with that kind of case. They didn't want to get that involved, or if there's something more to it. But it's very odd.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know Judge Diener, but
And Diener's reason for stepping down, they made statements about he was threatened, or his family, or I felt like that was the coward way out. Like you just didn't want to do the job, man.
Yeah. I call him Diener the Wiener just because, you're going to sign something and, recuse yourself. That's just me.
And, you want to be the prosecutor like Ives. You want to be the prosecutor to go out on the scene, but you don't want to, you want to step down as soon as you see what's taking place. Like, that's not taking pride in what you do. Like, and the way they handled the floor fire and what we've seen, and, if we would have did our job like they did theirs, we wouldn't have had one.
Exactly.
Bottom line, we would have suffered. We would have suffered repercussions of some sort. And so, to me, I'm upset, man. Like we need to have a system that is overseeing the system, because these people have been allowed not to have to answer for anything. And once again, you expect all the viewers, all the public, you want everybody to have trust in you. We want us to trust that you got the right guy. Everything you say is correct. It's hard to do. It's hard to do knowing what I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to do knowing how they treated me. I've got a lot of time battling it out with Tony Liggett. He cost me 2.5 years of time until we went to trial. Several thousands of dollars I never got returned from lawyer fees that I won in 10 minutes. 10 minutes of deliberations, they found me not guilty. Like a guy come in my house in the middle of the night while I was home asleep and asked my girlfriend, barged in my door, asked my girlfriend to go home with him. I warned him to get out of the house. The second time I warned him. The third time I proceeded to whoop his ass.
Oh my God.
I went to jail, and it cost me $3,000 to bond out, and I had to battle it for 2 years of my life. And Tony Liggett, I was found not guilty, and Tony Liggett was reprimanded by the judge, which was Judge Curry at the time. So, when I tell you he's a scumbag, Tony Liggett's a dirty, rotten scumbag.
So he
never apologized. He never apologized to me one. Okay. He wanted me even worse.
So what was his excuse for coming into your house to start with?
That's the guy that came in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier on that evening, my girlfriend was at the bar and was having some drinks. And she actually took his truck, but I was already home. I was home in bed. I had to work the next day. I left the bar and I was like, I'm not sticking around. It was 10 o'clock. I just went home. Well, about 1 o'clock in the morning, her and him had got together somehow, and somehow she had possession of his truck, and she drove it back to the house where I was at. And supposedly he come looking for the truck, but the approach he made was just barging right in my house.
Oh, okay.
So, I kind of gave it to the guy that he was after his truck, but the way he was drunk and belligerent, and I I had just woke up out of a dead sleep. Like, oh, here's another thing. Like, these guys come in and they handcuffed me. I was in my underwear, just getting out of bed. They handcuffed me. They put me face down on my carpet in the dining room, and they tased me with a taser while I had handcuffs off in my
Oh my
underwear.
Oh,
And they
oh,
cussed me, and we talked back and forth. I told them what a piece of shit they were, and they told me what a piece of shit I was, and they took me to town. They took me to the clinic. But like, I will never forgive them for what they put me through. And I'm here to tell you, these guys are capable of anything, and they've got away with it for so long. Like, they've kept. I can remember way back. I was telling you earlier on. I can remember way back when I was a kid. There was a club called the JCs, and I've tried to find some research on it because I used to go to it with my family. We the Brovants, the Pearsons, the Strasser was a mayor, Randall's. There was this little club they had, and it was called the JCs. And eventually, most of these JC members become the people that ran the authoritarian positions in town, such as sheriff, fire chief, mayor, da da da. And I'm not sure where that club stemmed from, but a few sheriffs before Randall, we had Mr. McCurdy was sheriff. Now, he brought the KKK to the courthouse square. So, and the KKK originated about 45.
To the courthouse square?
Yeah, there his son had a dispute at school, and Mr. McCurdy was sheriff at the time. And they marched, and he was Grand Master, they say. And we're talking about a police force senior, and so, like, what I'm trying to explain is Denny Randall was trained from McCurdy and Coghill and Lee Horde. Like, he was trained from that branch and that way of thinking. And then Denny Randall trained to work with Tobe for so many years and was a little older, but trained. Like, I remember when Liggett came in under Randall as sheriff. Liggett started out as a turnkey. And these guys have kept this mentality in this facility for decades. And don't deny the fact that they're not racist. Don't deny the fact that that's a big thing there, whether they want to admit it or not. I'm just trying to explain, like, these people aren't perfect, and they do make flaws, and they do things their own way. And a lot of the speculations that people are talking about are not false accusations. And it has brought up a lot of this drama we're going through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the KKK was huge in Indiana for a long time. And I mean, I don't live there. I know in Alabama, it was really bad. We had a similar circumstance when I was a little kid with our sheriff. It was horrible. And so I'm not saying they don't exist, but I don't hear anything about them. So I'm
what we still have in Carroll County, you still do have the Freemasons, and you still have the Odd Fellows. Now, you go from an Odd Fellow to a Mason to a Shriner is like usually the general steps. And I buried one of the potentates, the Shriner. Jerry Markovich was his name. And I was his right-hand man, and he was the potentate of Indiana in 2007. He was the chief Shriner of the Masons in Indiana, and I was his right-hand man. So I've heard a lot of people talking about the Masons in Delphi, and maybe their affiliation and a land grab and blah 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 blah. And but these Odd Fellows, where they start out in Delphi before they start going into the Masons, man, they have a strange deal going on. Like, they still hold a ritual with a skull. they pass the skull around, and they have this. You have to memorize their creed, and it's a brotherhood thing, and so like people weren't off track too far of that weird shit either when they were discussing it, because it's there.
Yeah.
So it's there.
So you start as an odd fellow, and then you go to a Mason, and then I did know you could go from a Mason to a Shriner, but I
That's
don't
usually,
know much about odd fellows.
yeah, the odd fellows aren't heard of much. That's kind of a little lower, not so much of a branch of affiliates, but they're there. They're there. They are there.
I think we only have one Oddfellow Lodge around my area, and I mean, one of my best friends, her dad or granddad was in it, but neither one of us knew anything about it. I mean, it's so hush hush. But so, okay, that you know of, and I know it is hush hush, but I know a lot of law enforcement are Masons. So,
Yeah.
do you
See,
think
that's
there's any?
the potentate that I worked for, Jerry Markovich. He had seven governmental positions to become potentate. He had
Wow.
to hold seven different. I learned a lot from this man. I had some of the best mentors from that area. I really did. Like, and I knew some of the best guys. Like if you, as a young man, you wanted to learn the trades, man, they taught a lot. But like Jerry was a deputy. He was an Indianapolis deputy. So you're right. A lot of them are. When Jerry got
So,
cancer, we were doing work down along the Ohio River, and he went down there and he had a little cabin he built on a trailer to drive out of town and stay and work with, a little log cabin he made. But he took me down in this area one time where all these Masons were cops. Like they were, I mean, he took me into a whole different society. And so it's true. Like, I want to back you up on what you said.
Hypothetically, then okay, and I'm not saying that they did because I don't know, but if there was a crime committed and there was an officer involved, would that, in my understanding, that would mean other Masons would have to, by brotherhood, not say anything?
I would think.
I mean, that's what I'd think too.
I would think. Like, once I never joined, but I was around it, and I knew there was a very lengthy thing you had to go through to become one. And they did vow to each other.
Right.
Like they do vow to each other, and they're there for each other. I remember one time, like, we was putting a roof on Jerry's shop down along the Ohio River. I remember one time 60 of them showed up and volunteered.
Wow.
All their 60 of them, they put a roof on us. 60 of them came free.
Wow.
For the whole weekend. They put a metal roof on it was thousands of square foot garage, house, barn, and for free. I mean, like,
wow.
So they're tight knit. There's no doubt about that. And they would cover for each other just like another officer would for his partner.
Yeah. I know that happens a lot. It shouldn't, but it does, and we all know it does. So, and my understanding, and this was from a Facebook post, and I put this up. So Nick McClelland is, according to this, a Master Mason. So he's higher up there ranking.
I've reached that conclusion myself. I've done my research, and I see that myself. So I believe that's a true case there, what you're stating. And then once you get in the Delphi Bar Association, the Carroll County Bar Association, once you're in there, you're pretty much whatever's in the town that they want you to be a part of. You're in with them. You know what I mean? You're in with them. You're in with the people that decide what happens.
Right. Exactly.
You're in with the people that decide where the monies of the county go. You're in with them all. You're so.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's there. It's alive and living.
Indy Pam says, and I didn't know that because I don't know the cemeteries around there. She says that Libby is buried in the Oddfellows Cemetery. I didn't know
Yeah, good
that.
possibility. My a good friend of mine, he takes care of that cemetery. He's an odd fellow. I got a couple odd fellow friends.
Uh yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
read some of these comments. They're crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, that's probably
well,
fact. That's probably fact. I wouldn't be surprised a bit because now listen, my buddy Jason Lowry is married to Melissa Marchand, which is Becky's family,
mhm.
sister or cousin, I believe. So like, Patty's probably did go through that Jason and they probably did arrange something through that Oddfellows cemetery, and that's how that connection probably was made.
Wow. So you don't have to be an odd fellow to be buried in the cemetery.
Well, they might have made a special circumstance on that. Like I'm not real sure. Like I would
Yeah,
have
I don't.
thought so, but some things, like I guess we could research it and find out. But I kind of believe what she says, just because what this person's Indy Pam, you said Indy Pam told you or is asking.
Yeah, yeah. Indy
Yeah,
Pam said that in the comments. That's
I can
why.
see I can see that. I mean, I can see that. I can see Jerry Lowry and Jason Lowry and them like stepping up and providing a place. And to them, and like that association, that's a very probably a very sacred place of
Yeah,
burial. So
I guess so.
you know,
And yeah, so Digital is asking how many are Masons. Evans, McClelland, we know he is. McCain's, Mike Patty, I don't know. I know McClelland is because he's on Facebook with that when he. So I don't know about the rest of them. And this, I'm going to bring this up here because somebody asked me about this, and you mentioned it last time.
yeah,
Uh, the Sons of Odin, or the Odin Brotherhood. I've actually read a lot about them. It's very confusing, but I've read a lot about them. So, it is fact that they practice in the area.
yeah. Like a good friend of mine and Derek that Derek got busted with is Christy Martin. She was dating uh, Jonas Zuber at the time, and he was Sons of Odin. He wore the patch, and then
What did they
Christy
do?
and then, they're bikers.
What?
They're just rebel bikers, ruthless. I mean, they put a front on a lot of things for charity stuff, but behind the doors, they're pushing drugs and they're taking care of business.
Are they like cultic or?
Well, I've read on them myself. It's hard to find too much on them online. I mean, it's pretty limited, but like, yeah, I guess they even do some ritualistic shit. Like at one time, there was a talk about a pig head being found around the scene of the crime somewhere. That kind of disappeared, but like that's one of the marks the Odins will leave behind. But then they talked about Ron Logan having a hog roast party somewhere around the weekend of the murder. So I kind of got my mixed feelings on that pig head that might have been, or pig skull that might have been. But
So do I.
man, like it's just been such a long journey with all this. I'm not giving up though, man. I'm here. Like I have sorted through so many creators and I'm not going nowhere, folks. Like I'm here to till the conviction.
Yeah.
Like sorry if you don't like me. Sorry if you don't like how I reacted when you provoke me. Sorry,
I
I'm
just,
still like we're in Carroll County. Like I'm the bad guy. Okay, I've been the bad guy all my life in your eyes. So what? So
oh, I know there's a lot of. It seems like Delphi brings out the worst in people, but I've heard that the Summer Wells case is even worse. They said if you think the Delphi creators are bad, and it was funny because I was going to cover some of that case, but I think it's like really really interesting about the kinds of groups
well,
because if you have I mean, let's just say you have the cookers, and the drugs. We all know they're there. They're in my area too. And then you have Masons, and then you have Odin people. Like, it could get very deep very quick.
And it did, no doubt about it. It did. And then you also had the Latin kings out there at the hog plant.
Oh, there, yeah, we've got a
so
pair
now
too.
you got the locals trying to produce the product, and you got the Latin kings out there bringing it in, and it could, yeah, man, the shit's real. The shit's real.
And I think that's why it's so convoluted, because there are so many.
You don't know how many times that I was involved that I was completely terrified in my own hometown.
From what exactly?
From affiliations.
Yeah.
And what I knew, and what what the crowd I ran with, and what we were doing, like, yeah, I hate to say it, but there was a time there was a time I even thought I was the hunted. I was the hunted in my own hometown. Yeah. So I can see a lot why Derek stays quiet there. Even, like if he has anything in the back of his mind that he was possibly tied to something that caused it, I can see why he's not talking.
Yeah.
I don't really want to think that at this point anymore, but I don't count it out.
Right. I mean, we have a lot of that same. I feel like there are very big similarities between where I'm at in Alabama and some stuff that goes on in Indiana. I think that's why it interests me so much. But, and you've been very, very open about, the past and having problems. Like, a lot of people have a past. And, but the thing of it is when you're in that world, it's hard to just walk out.
I rose above it. I left home with a duffel bag. They beat me down to the point. At 40 years old, I finally packed up and said, I'm done. And I left. And it's been 7.5 years or somewhere around that time. I've not been in any trouble. I don't have no problems in my life. I turned it around. If I was the problem, okay, but there's also others that created me to be a problem. So, like, I find it odd that I've been 40 states in 7 years and I've had no trouble. But when I go home, I have trouble. Yeah, so who is the real trouble?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, so where's the real trouble? And then when I tell Mom, man, I just want to come back home, move home. Mom's like, just stay away. You're doing great. And, sometimes I do miss home, and I only get to stay for a short while when I go, because it's just not the place for me anymore. And then after what I've leaked about all this, do you know what Tony Liggett and them guys would do to me if they got a chance to get a hold of me?
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you know what Nick would file on me? Like, I've been leaking stuff for 5 years. Like, I see these people pick up the ball and run with the stuff that I've leaked. And they come back with all this research, and it's exactly what I've told you. You've spent all that time. All you had to do is listen to me. Ruckus has learned. Ruckus has finally come around. He's learned. What a good dude. Like, he's really learned how to handle himself as a creator. Like, I know he's a little biased sometimes, but he's law enforcement. He's pro LE. I get that. But he still has an open mind to see both sides of the story.
Yeah. And that's important. It's really important to listen to people that you don't even agree with, because you've got to hear all sides. I mean, I'm very pro LE because I work with them, and I think a lot of them are great, great guys, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. I know how it works with some people.
Yeah.
And it's easier, in my opinion, it's easier to be crooked when you're the good guy.
you know,
Because who's gonna?
you're not gonna learn anything you don't want to know. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not willing to open your ears and listen and pay attention and observe, you're not going to learn because you're not willing. You're not willing to. You know, you're not willing to open that second
Right.
set of, you know. So, and I think that's what you're doing great with your channel. Like, you're really staying neutral. And a lot of them that are doing better with their views and stuff are the neutral parties. You know, that they're sticking to some of the meat instead of talking about other creators or talking about viewers. Like you put one out earlier today, it just was right on the money, you know, like have some couth, man. Have some couth.
Yeah.
And then don't provoke and cry wolf. And then you're putting the stuff right out there where everybody can see it. It's obvious who was the instigator and who was the retaliator. You know, like, come on.
Yeah.
I have a
hate it
channel.
when-
I have a channel. It's all about me and the dogs and my wife and our travels. I'm not making a true crime channel. Sorry. Like you guys done turn me away from that. Like, man, come on.
Man, I started with another channel. I had nothing to do with true crime. That was just like, that's always been a passion of mine, you know, a side hobby. I've studied so many cases. And yeah, I didn't ever expect to be here. Yeah. I wake up some days and I'm like, how did I even get here? This wasn't my intent. But I mean, that's the thing. Is there anything
like
else in your?
It's like a hook. Like a hook, line, and sinker, man. It's so intense that, like, if you're an extreme person or you're like if you're into this kind of stuff, man, you can go for years diving into this situation.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it has been going on, and I do want to see a resolution.
I mean, I'm from there, and I know all these players, and I'm still stumped.
Yeah.
And then, like, even if they got him, damn, boys, it took you 6 years. He was there.
See, that's where
don't pat yourself on the back. Don't pat yourself on the back just yet. You know, like.
Right. Well, that's why I got into that. I think that's where I fell down the rabbit hole because, yeah, it took you 6 years to come up with somebody who lives in town who you had a picture of and video of and all this. So either you're really incompetent or that bridge guy is not anywhere like he actually was, if that's been manipulated, or you're covering it up because you're law enforcement or in some kind of club. I don't know. There's so many possibilities. And, you know, that's where I'm like.
We still don't know, you know, like the BG walking bloody muddy guy. Like, why did he walk behind Mears's? How'd he get to his car? Because we don't have nothing about him walking in front of the Hoosier Harvester camera. Ruckus and Steve were supposed to do a walk down that road with 2 drones to see if a car can be driving by fast at a rate of speed to see if they could tell if the guy was muddy or bloody or not. So hopefully that shows us a little bit.
I'm glad because that has the Muddy Bloody Witness has, I mean, if you're wearing light colored clothes, if you're wearing a light jean jacket, anything that's light, you can see.
And I'm telling you, from what I've understood of the lady that's saying this, like, I'm not sure I'd want her on the stand. Like,
yeah,
Carroll County's got some real doozies. Carroll County's got some real doozies. Carroll County's got some girls that are some real doozies, man. Like, you might watch what you ask for. And then, like, listen, I wrestled with Rosie in high school. This is how affiliated I'm on both sides here. Like, I wrestled with Rosie in high school, the defense attorney. His dad was a wrestling coach for Logan Sport, which is a bordering county. And he wasn't a giver-upper. He didn't quit wrestling like Nick McClellan. He was a very talented. So, like, I put it in a cage match, and I'm saying Rosie's going to whoop the shit out of Nick. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I heard in court from several people who were there that Nick did a great job. And
I heard that too. I did. I admit it. I heard that too. Like, but I also heard Julie Melvin come on Joe Lewis's the other night, and she told a whole different story of what really took place and what she observed, and it was more along the lines of what I could picture it, like, you know, like the prosecution didn't run away with that whole day like everybody leads on. Like Rozzy and Edwards held pretty good ground, like considering what was threw at them, and like that's discovery. So like, how can you sideball discovery in a court hearing before the defense has had a chance to look at the discovery?
Right. There's so much that's going to be argued in this case.
You know, like that should have been a discovery them attorneys were ready for. And they were I mean, they went in there for a suppression hearing, and there was no suppression hearing whatsoever. That whole hearing got derailed. That whole hearing got derailed.
Yeah, so that was something else. I think the one good thing that came out of it was the one good thing that came out of it was that Judge Gold released documents, so we could all see that it was like, what the heck are you suppressing this for? You know.
Yeah.
But at least we know.
Yeah, right. You know, and then like, man, like I will have to say, I know probably for a fact that Nick is communicating with some very lifelong prosecutors. Like Jerry Bean was Ives's assistant prosecutor before McClellan come in. Jerry Bean's out of Lafayette, and he was a lead prosecutor in Lafayette, Indiana for a long time. Like this old guy is a prosecutor. Like he knows all the prosecution tricks. Like, so like, really? I know Nick is getting assisted. There's no doubt about it. Like, he's just too young in it to be carrying on as well as he is. Sorry.
I think he's got, whether Richard Allen is guilty or not, I think Nick has a hard job because so much of the evidence that we've seen, unless there's other stuff that's going to come up, it's going to be so hotly debated and refuted in a lot of ways. It's going to be a hard job.
It's going to be a hard job. If we even get there, like, I don't know. At this point, I don't know if it's ever going to go. I mean, I hope to see it go to trial personally because I want the story. I want the motive. I want any affiliations. I want to know. And sorry, that's just how I feel. Like I don't want him to rot away and not be able to go to trial. I don't want to see a plea agreement. You know, I don't want.
No, if he's guilty, yeah.
I don't want to see it brushed under the rug to make everybody's job easier. I don't want, because that's all it does. Like if you're the defense, you represent him like OJ's lawyer did. Mm-hmm. Whether he's guilty or not, you try to find him not guilty. Prosecution, do your best job to find him guilty. You know, like play the role.
Yeah, I want them both to give it all, and I also want the jury to, feel good about whatever their decision is, because and I think, though, here's the problem. If Richard Allen is found guilty and, whatever, what I'm afraid of is that they are going to say, okay, we got our man, and nobody else is going to go down. Because, in my opinion, I firmly believe that this is more than a one-person effort.
And I could see why a lot of people do feel that way. And I still have speculations, and I still feel that way in a certain percentage of it. Yeah.
And even if it not, I think somebody covered it up.
I don't count it out. That's for damn sure. There's just too many things. Like, there's just too many things. Yeah, like,
I think
you got Garrett Kurtz out there. You got Garrett Kurtz out there during the time and playing on Ron's land. You know, you got Chadwell out there. You got Chadwell that was supposedly out there staying under the bridge. You just got too much, man.
What about Gabe Ellis?
Gabe
Do you
Ellis,
think
see, that's a connection to Christy Martin and the
to
Sons of
Christy
Odin.
Martin?
Christy Martin's the one that Derek got arrested with, and the one,
Okay.
yeah, and she was dating the Sons of Odin guy. That'd be a Kokomo crew.
Yeah.
It'd be a
It is
Kokomo
very
crew,
likely. Yeah.
you know.
To
And
me, it's very likely.
you know, and to me, there's a couple guys when we brought them photos up earlier. Kurtz, Gabe Ellis, and Daniel Pearson that look more like that at that time in 2017. They resemble that photo to me, that BG facial photo, more so than Richard Allen. So that's another one of my dilemmas on the Richard Allen. Even though they supposedly have so much on Richard Allen, yeah, I still have a dilemma there.
Yeah, and my dilemma with that too is because I mean, Gabe Ellis was arrested like either the day after or 2 days after the 13th or the 14th, whatever day they went missing, the 13th. And Gabe was with an underage girl. She was like 15, 16 at the time. He had weapons in his car. He had a night scope for a rifle. He had some other paraphernalia, drugs being one of them. And so he's arrested. He had also, his hair was long and he had also shaved his head within that time period after their
Yeah, but
murders.
there's a
So,
few of them. There's a few of them that shut their counts down. A few of the ones that were being suspects, and they changed their appearance. I mean, if you went back to, you could find them in the very beginning, but if you went back, they were disappeared, or they're, like you said, and Gabe Ellis was one of them. You're correct. And now listen, Derek supposedly had some kind of confrontation, as rumor had it, like prior weeks before, or a week or two before the incident, that like people were kind of watched him or coming for him or something like. And then when the girls, then there was a comment the day they went searching for the girls that Becky supposedly made in reference to, oh my God, they got the girls.
right.
So I man, I think those comments were made, and I think that Derek might have had somebody after his ass. He was known to piss people off. So the way Derek carried himself and his drug deals and the way he fucking thought he had backup, man. Like his uncles, the Germans, Tommy Gray and Rob Wood and his dad and stuff. Like they all knew all these bikers, and they were Billy badasses, man. You don't mess with these guys. Like his uncles and stuff around Carroll, you don't mess with them. Like he had protection, so, but I don't count out that he done something wrong, man. I don't.
Well, I've heard people over and over refer to that video or whatever where Becky says that, they've got our girls. So I have to believe, because so many people saw it, that it is an actual thing. Now, people said that about the bridge guy photo that where he had the stripe down his leg and the mask on and stuff. And I didn't completely discount it, but I'm like, you're going to have to show me. But I've seen that picture. I've had it on my channel. So after that, and that was in the Pharaoh's Tribune, I've got the whole, front page. It's like, well, where did this is the bridge guy then. So what happened? Did
and
they
then
just
we got the Palladino kid name coming in, and that's all dope affiliated. So
no.
I don't know if you've heard Palladino's name being thrown in the mix. There's been so many of them. Like I can about name them all. Yeah, that's all totally meth. Something, anything to have a conversation about Palladinos, Mark, or the cousins, or not, that's dope. Like, they have been that way for years.
Yeah.
So
what about this? Charlie Murphy is talking about the Marathon gas station video. He said, I think somebody saw it and they didn't want to. Someone they didn't want to see, and they explained it away as lost. Yeah, that was one of. By the way, Mr. Murphy, that is one of the things that got me down the rabbit hole in the very beginning. You cannot tell me that the FBI could not extract data from that. It was damaged. You lost it. Whatever. That's crap. I'm just going to call it what it is. That's total crap.
Like you got Keegan Kline researching the marathon station on a phone.
Yes.
You got Keegan Kline saying out there in Las Vegas when he finds out the girls are murdered, he says, "Oh, I'm something like in reference to, oh, I'm screwed." Like, man, I'm just like, whoo,
Yeah.
where, like,
See,
and
this is
then you got the Delphi officers going to the that last hearing of Keegan Kline's when he was fired his lawyer or whatever, and changed the program. But like, why was Delphi there? Like, if there's nothing there, why are some Delphi officers there?
Did you ever know the Kleins, Tony
No,
or Kagan?
no. But I can take a good look at them, and I know the Kokomo crowd, and I know some of them Chrysler workers. I can see by what they wear, what they own, what's been shown. That not no churchgoers. They're not no churchgoers.
Well, even even some churchgoers have been, I've gotten information from people speculating, again, this is speculation, about the church there,
Yeah.
and a certain pastor.
Yeah, I remember seeing that stuff too. And then like softball coaches were kind of being looked at, and pastor up at the church. And yeah, I remember that talk.
Yeah. You have to wonder. That's why I started looking at it. I'm like, okay, who is not a pervert and who is not crooked in Carroll County? Because there's not that many people in Delphi, and there's all these names and speculation. I'm like, good God, y'all. I know there's some good people.
And after traveling so much, I'm like, I don't see that everywhere. I mean, if I go in the inner cities and the hoods and stuff, I see whatever I want. And when I come into these small towns, I guess maybe I'm not there long enough to notice it, but like, there's just a strange thing when you go into Delphi. You can even feel it. Like, a lot of this stuff's incestual too, man. Like, if you take a ride, like, all these family names all had kids with each other and each other and each other for decades. Like, so if you go the back roads on a Sunday morning down by the German Baptist, while they're all getting on their horse and buggies, and you take a look at some of them, I'm just being honest. I'm just saying, you got mongoloids, you got, and then, like I said, a lot of it has been like, I'm sorry, but they've all laid in the same bed.
We have some.
I'm from there. They've all laid in the same bed, man. So you get a little strange offspring that way.
We have some areas in Alabama, I'm not gonna lie, that are quite strange and very inbred, but I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like the family tree doesn't fork. That's what Jeff Foxworthy
And then, like,
used to
when
say.
I was growing up, man, the German Baptists used to have the national convention right there, not too far from where the murders were, just out the crooked road. And that was just nothing but, the national convention is just a place where your daughters and sons can meet.
It's like trolling at the family picnic.
Like, oh yeah, man. Like, the history of Delphi is something else. And then, like, you had the battlefield right there, battleground. The Battle of Tecumseh. It's just 7 miles from town. So, like, I guess if you're in any kind of spiritual area or warfare, or man, it's hot and heavy there. Like, like, it really is. Yeah, like, it's hot and heavy.
But is that like a protected, state protected place? Is
Yeah.
it official?
And then you had Prophet's Rock as well.
Now, what's that?
If I remember correctly, that's where Tecumseh stood and prophesied the battle. If I remember correctly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then the canal, like, there's a lot of history behind the canal too there, That was a booming little town.
Wow. Um, I saw this in the comments. I'm trying to. Lambert says the pig roast guest of honor was the Kokomo group. That would be interesting if somebody's got info. I can't. I know, like you said earlier, 4Pitts. I've heard a lot about this pig roast, but it's speculation. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh yeah, I was there. I saw it. It definitely happened."
The,
It's just like
the really only thing
supposedly.
the really only thing I can say about the Ron Logan and the property is the people he was letting come out there, such as Kurtz and some of the kids Kurtz were running with, and what they were doing out there. And there wasn't. It was a playground out there, and Ron Logan was the ringleader.
Yeah.
It was his property, and he was allowing it to go on. So,
Well, I don't know. I feel different ways about Ron Logan, but I will say, like we said before, I don't see him not knowing what was going on on his property. However, the pig roast would be, if anybody could vet that would be very telling because,
yeah,
again, that was just a couple of days before.
we've never had anybody come out and say they attended the party or anything, like,
Right.
so.
I mean, and it's in February. I mean, we like to do pig roast down here, but not in February.
Yeah, I get that
Ain't
too.
nobody
Yeah.
roasting that.
Right.
So
But
if it was, if there was something there, people have speculated it wasn't actually a pig roast. It wasn't actually on Ron's land, that it was an occultic ceremony in the cemetery next door, which I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say it.
well, I do know for all the cemeteries are pretty well watched around the area. Like, if you were having something like that at a Delphi cemetery, you're taking a big chance because, like, the neighbors watch. The Mears would have noticed somebody over there at the cemetery like that, a group late at night or whatever, or carrying on. Like, you just didn't ever want to get caught in the cemeteries around Delphi. You were asking for trouble.
What,
So,
like from the police coming or?
Yeah. Like, if you pulled in and say you wanted to pull in, crack a beer with your buddy in the cemetery and think nobody's going to find you, that'd be the first time. No doubt about it. Every damn time the cops would roll by.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, cemeteries, and I don't know, around here, I'm just going to tell you, people do the darndest things, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But
yeah, I mean, I get it. It's 2023. It's not 1980 no more.
No,
right.
But people do things I think our cemeteries are watched, but people do things in the church parking lot that I'm like, why? Why would you do that in public, much less in a church parking lot? But it seems to be the thing to do in Alabama.
Yeah, and like we were speaking earlier, like, even some of these officers that are in these churches that don't have the greatest credibility, really, like, and they're in there acting all holier than thou as they're pulling these side crooked stunts in their jobs, and the church thinks highly of them, but if you really know the facts about them, you wouldn't think so highly of them.
That is true.
And I'm just going to say one of them's name right now, and that's Steve Mullins.
Now,
he's high. He's one of the main investigators.
Ooh.
Liggett and Steve Mullins were the main investigators.
Okay, that's where I've heard that name then. And
yeah.
So what?
They were working with Nick. I'm guessing them two guys were working with Nick on the case the most closely. And those are the two guys that probably come up with the PC and wrote the police reports and whatnot. So I don't have much faith in their work at all. I mean, they proved me wrong, man. They've showed me too much about themselves for me to go gung ho on them.
That's what worries me. I don't have a dog in this fight with Richard Allen. I don't know his family. All I'm saying is
Oh,
There seems,
mom did tell me this. They've got their house up for sale, right?
yeah, I heard it sold.
Okay, and the town is upset about it.
Why?
That's, mom said they're irate about it, and I'm like, what do you mean they're irate about it? Like she really couldn't give me an answer, but she did come out and say that. Like, and I believe her. That's how twisted they are in their way of thinking.
You would think that they would want, if the town believes that Richard Allen is guilty, you would think they would want somebody to, want everybody away. Why would you want why? What did they want to do? Tear it down? I mean, I don't
I
know.
don't know what, like you're upset that what? He's selling his house and somebody's going to make some money and he might have some commissary money in his pocket. I don't know. Like, nothing to really be upset about. Good. I'm glad he's selling his house.
Yeah.
Him and his
I
crew can
mean,
go elsewhere, But
yeah, I
and then like, hey,
understand when
okay,
it's
let's go back to this. Like the JC's bar of the
yeah.
pool hall and the Johnsons that own the bar and all the people that I know that were sitting around in them videos, the waitress, like these people knew this guy very well. That pool hall and that pool league turns into a tight-knit group every year. All the same people that go in there and play pool in that pool tournament, which was what was going on when we seen that, they all know each other very well. So you guys acted like you didn't even know this guy, hardly.
Yeah.
Bullshit, you sat and boozed with him every weeknight, Thursday night, shooting pool. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's too small of a town, and even in the beginning, I've heard, and I'm not going to even name names, but interviews, people said, "Well, I don't know who he was. I don't know anything about him." Like, dang, your town is the size of a postage stamp. Don't
Now,
tell me you don't know.
now he supposedly moved there in 2010, and
Yeah,
I left around 15 or 16. So like, I can't really, in my back of my head, I can't remember seeing him in the CVS. Not saying he wasn't there or not. I do remember that I recall a male or two males working there during them years. But so I'm one of the ones. I guess I wouldn't have recognized him.
yeah. I
So
mean, yeah. I mean, I guess, here's what gets me. It's not the bar, because if you don't go to the bar, then you probably wouldn't know him if if let's say he worked out of town, but he was there at the CVS, and that is my understanding the only drugstore around. So you're gonna go to the drugstore, and you're gonna say you've never seen this guy. I mean,
Uncle Mark seen him and knew him. He knew him from the liquor aisle. When Uncle Mark said every time he'd go in there to buy him a bottle, old Richard Allen would be in there stocking the liquor aisle. So
well,
some people did recognize him when his face come out.
yeah, and that's why I don't buy all these people acting like they don't know who he is. I mean,
You
you might
know,
not been BFFs, but I don't believe it, because I
and
know
then
how I
and
smell.
then Cody living 2 doors down from him for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. There's only so many bars in Delphi, and if you drink in one, you probably pretty much drink in all of them because you bar hop. So
Oh my
so
gosh.
like Cody living 2 doors down for 6 months, and the few bars that are in town, and Alan being in them, and I guarantee Cody was in there because his aunts and cousins were bartenders at the JC's. Becky's sister Brenda, and then Derek's cousin. What the hell's her name? Stasha.
I don't know if I've heard of that one.
Bartender during that time. So
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
I'm glad you brought me on because I got to get a lot off my chest. My wife's
I'm
letting me
glad
do
you
this.
came
She's tired
on.
of it. She's really tired of it, you guys. She's so tired of me. And she's ready for me to take her out and start doing some stuff other than this. So I'm not going to be here much longer.
I agree.
But
Oh, well,
I picked and chose who I watched enough of you to see who I was willing to give my time to. And I hope I helped your views. I hope
of course.
I brought something to the table. A lot of them say I don't, but man, I brought most of the information that you didn't know about.
Yes,
And
and I appreciate it. I do
so
appreciate it.
and a lot of you wonder where a lot of that stuff started. You're looking at it. So
Well, tell your wife thank you very much, and I understand. I understand her being sick of it and everything else, and I won't keep you much longer because I know the chat. I've been trying to keep an eye on it. Jinx has been on fire, but she's
I hope you go far, and I hope you grow, and I hope you do well with your little your podcast you got going on. You handle yourself very well, very mature.
thank you, thank
You
you.
know, easy to talk to, and you know, I really enjoyed coming on with you.
I enjoyed you too. And all I'd seen before the open panel was just your name and comments and stuff.
I'll tell you this: if you don't listen to what people say about me, I won't listen to what people say about you.
that's okay. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it. And I mean, if you have something else to say, and you want to come back on another time, just let me know. Just message me on
You know, I
Discord or
want
whatever.
me and Ruckus are going to have a hoot, and we're going to throw feathers back at each other, and we're just going to have a hoot with it, and then I'm probably done. Like I feel like right now we're just in limbo. Like
We are.
there's a few most of the creators have backed off. Like they're not even talking much now about it. There's a couple of you that are staying with it, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for it. You know, carry the flag, carry the torch
Well,
to the finish line.
I think it's that some of us, like, we get information emailed or whatever kind of communication, and that opens up something else. But yeah, I think we need to. There's so many cases that need to be looked into.
And like we can't. And the last thing I want to say is, it's about the girls. It's about the girls. The girls know, and they're watching. And they're watching who's putting out what needs to be put out. And they're watching us, and they're proud of us. They're proud of us for chasing it down and not giving up on them. So
I believe that.
I really, I really do. I spend time with my past loved ones often. They're not gone. They're just in a different place. And, if you listen and you take the time to understand life and give life a chance and just listen to the conscience of your soul, there's a lot of comfort there. So them poor girls, I know. I thank you all so much for reaching out and what you're doing.
Well, I think that's anybody who has a conscience. That's why we do this, is for Libby and Abby. I have Icebox has a question for you before we leave. If I have concerns if L&T were the investigators, okay, that we just talked about, and the only info that Nick McClellan has, but doesn't DC Doug Carter have influence? What are your thoughts on tentacles and other players? In other words, what Nick is getting to use, he's just getting from the investigators, correct?
Yeah, I think that was the whole plan. I think Carter was the spokesperson, and he was riding off what these guys are telling him. He's playing his position, and if they asked him not to assist, he can only assist so much. And I think he's paid attention enough to listen to know these guys a little better than they portray themselves to him. Like, yeah. I think he's learned enough to know that there is, but like they said, he's ready to retire. He's ready to jump out now, they're saying. So we
But then
we probably
go
probably
ahead.
won't. I don't honestly. I don't think Carter's penciled much. I don't think he's penciled much of any of it. I think he's just been the spokesperson.
But that kind of puts Nick McClellan in a bad position.
And
I mean,
I'm sure that's why Nick's not sleeping very well at night.
yeah,
I'm
because
sure.
I mean, you're I don't know. I hate to say it, but if you're looking at Tweedledee and Tweedledum as investigators, and this is the information you got, then that's all you got, right?
And you're hoping as a prosecutor, your guys are bringing you as much as they can, and what they're bringing you is enough to stick. And like, he's got some dingleberries. He's got some dingleberries there. Guys, the guys never solved a crime on their own. Everybody always had to tell on themselves or to get told on for them to solve it. These guys never solved a crime on their, not day one. No way. They couldn't figure out nothing. For one thing, you ain't gonna catch a tweaker in a tweaker mind without ever being a tweaker.
That's
so
true.
Like, the enhancement of the drug makes you do things that like are so sneaky that like a sober-minded person can't even fathom.
Right.
So, and like I said, like these guys, they only solve crimes because somebody told on themselves or told on each other.
Yeah. I mean, I know that from working in the jail. You have no idea. You have
Yeah,
no
like,
idea until you're around people like that, and then some of them get better. They get out, and most of them come back to jail though. That's the honest truth. Most.
Yeah.
99% of them come back.
I totally agree. Yeah. I'm thankful and fortunate enough to I walked away, and I've been fine since, man, because I got tired of going to jail.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
You
Good for you. See, that's what I always do when an inmate, because it doesn't matter what they've done. You build some kind of rapport with people, and I mean, I always look at them when they're leaving, when they're bonding out or their judge released them. Hey, look, don't come back to the jail. I'll talk to you. If I see you in Walmart, I'll be glad to talk to you. Do not come back to jail.
Then, like, I'm a firm believer, every officer of the law needs to spend a week in a cell before they become an officer.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be bad.
Because you can't, not everybody's in there the same. And like it is a good place if you take your time while you're there and you use it for the right reasons and wisely. Sober up, get in the good book, learn some values of life, learn some respect.
Yes.
Keep your health in check, work out. You'll get out. They can't eat you. They cannot eat you. And take your lesson with stride and come out a better individual. So
yes,
like,
absolutely.
We can't categorize all inmates the same, but the statistics show a higher percentage of bad apples than good apples.
Yeah.
And like,
you're right.
With the Richard Allen thing, we don't know. Like, we don't know. Like, is he misbehaving? Is he misbehaving in there? Is that why he's getting the corporal punishment treatment? Like,
right.
Or is he really just losing it? Are you watching him sit there on camera and lose his mind in there? Get him some damn help. He's still a human being. I know.
Yeah.
I know his charges, but get him some help. Like, he's going to get what's coming to him if he did it. So.
Yeah, and he is, and I mean, he's
getting it now.
Unfortunately, and here's the thing: if he is 100% guilty, then yes,
they've done things. You cannot have a non-sentenced inmate in the same cells as sentenced inmates.
Yeah.
And they put a sentenced convicted felon at his door to watch him.
I know.
like
That's what people don't
Carroll
understand.
County used to mix us. Carroll County used to mix us, and then around 2015 they started having the board on the wall where sentenced went to this cells and non-sentenced went to this cells, and they did their best to try to, because it became, I don't know if it became law or was already law, but somebody was cracking down on them, and they were straightening up the way their procedures ran. So they've done some things and they've admitted to it. Don't follow due process, like technicalities, mistrials, blah blah blah. That's the reason stuff like that happens. Like, so I don't know, man. I just want to see it done right, man. Show your professional, show your best self. Show your best self.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I that's the thing with Richard Allen.
Wait, now listen. They get up there and preach integrity. Show us your integrity, man. Show us your integrity, man.
I agree. Well, you have to have some to show it, so I guess it depends if you don't have any to show.
Oh,
everybody does.
They're raging fools with that. Like, they don't do no wrong, and they won't admit their wrongs. Like, if this is the way the route they're going, turning back's too late now. Like, even if it's the wrong guy, like, these guys ain't not going to admit their wrongs. They're not going to do it. It's not in them. It's not in them. It's not in them. They weren't.
Well, I hope something breaks. I hope if there are other people involved, I hope that Rick or whoever rolls on them.
Yeah.
I have not. Just my personal theories. I have not ruled out the Kokomo crew or Gabe Ellis or Garrett Kurtz or some others that will remain nameless at the moment of being involved. I think there was a group effort, or maybe if it wasn't even planned, but you have all these people out there.
It's just odd, like that many was out there that day. Like, and I guess from the time I left until 2017, the trails weren't quite out that far yet. They just started that portion of the leg of the trail system. From the time I left to the time that happened, like the leg from the highway bridge to the Monon Bridge was just being created. And then from what I understand, like, it must have became quite the little party area. So I don't know, man. Yeah. It really amazed me how many names were mentioned out there. And then there's another one that's kind of affiliated towards the Kokomo crew, Tina Rodell. Her name was mentioned. Her daughter supposedly was out there and come back home saying she was abused or battered or threatened or something from out there that same day. Like, there's some aggravated happenings that happened out there moments, hours prior to the murders. And these names kind of just disappeared. You don't see them in the PCA. You don't see them in the paperwork. You don't see them.
Right.
But
wasn't it Tina that said that Gabe is the one that came in a white car and picked up her daughter? Gabe and some other guys. Yeah.
See, there you go. And Tina is best. Tina is like best friends and godmother to the Christy Martin.
Really?
So, and that always struck me. Christy, what was one of your best friends doing out there that morning?
Yeah.
See, Christy got 17 or something like that. She done 7 years. She just got out. Like, she lost her daughter too. Like, she lost her daughter for the whole time she was in prison. And I always kept thinking, like, Christy, did you really do this? Did you really have something done? Like, with one of your prison affiliates you met while you was down for 7 years? Did you? Like, it was just odd to me that Tina was out there that morning. And I'll tell her to her face. I'll tell them both to their face. I want to know if. And then Gabe Ellis picked her daughter up out there.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
Can't not talk about it.
that's why I keep going back to Gabe. I know people think oh well, we've already dismissed him. I know people, but
I
it
have.
just there's
I literally sent Derek a message, and he's got that gag order, so he ain't talking. But normally would.
yeah.
But here a while back when I did these pictures that we put up tonight, I sent them to
Hmm.
Derek, and I said, sure does look like Gabe Ellis Garrett. These are the three names I said. It sure does look like Gabe Ellis, Daniel Pearson, or Garrett Curtis to me, man. I said, you and the family take a good hard look, but so
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not up here talking behind Derek's back. Like Derek
Right.
knows
Right.
me. I know him. Like he knows I'm in it for him. He knows I'm in it for him, and I'm out there tracking him down. I got 4 dogs I'm tracking. I'm always a tracking.
Well,
We
you keep
tracking, man.
tracking.
We
Yeah.
hunt the earth for gems
Yeah.
or anything else we feel like. We do what we want. I love Ruckus's.
When
I
Ruckus
love
says that.
we do what we want, man. Sorry you can't
Oh
have it.
my gosh.
Sorry you can't have the
Um.
life, people. But work hard and you can. Work hard
Yeah.
and you can.
That's
Do
what
the
I'm
right
trying to
things.
do.
God will bless you.
Yeah.
God
That's
will
what
bless you. He's gonna let you. He's gonna let you. So
I believe
I
that.
know you're a good girl. You're a good
I
girl.
try to be. I try to
Stay at
be.
it.
I
I'm out of here.
I was gonna say, and the only reason I was gonna say I'm gonna have you don't know, Jinx has been. Oh my gosh, she's had so much on her.
She's a
This chat.
pistol.
It's not even necessarily about you, 4Pitts. It's just I've tried. I keep looking over here and I keep trying to do some of the modding myself, but I mean, 1,000 thank yous to
I
Jinx.
mean, like I
Have a
can't
lot.
say, man. Jinx has been around for a minute, man. We've had our little moments too, but we always keep each other in check.
Yeah.
And we're out here watching. Trust me. You ain't sliding nothing by us.
Oh my gosh.
You ain't
Exactly.
gonna come screenshot. You ain't gonna come screenshot something. We're not gonna see it. We got all our fingers out there. We got people. We got people too. We got connections too.
Yeah.
So I
Everybody
love
gets into
I love
it.
her, man. I love her to death, man. I love her to death. I'm glad you have her as one of your mods.
Yeah.
You
Me
know.
too.
So
Me
and I'm
too.
glad a lot of the other ones do too.
Yeah.
Because she
She's a good
runs
one.
she runs a tight ship.
She does, and that's the thing. It's not. It doesn't matter if you have a different opinion. She just doesn't allow disrespect, and I
Yeah.
mean, I think she's run her little fingers off tonight trying to mod for me, and I
Yeah.
am sorry about that, Jinx.
I'm sure.
I don't usually have this problem, but it is what it
Well,
is.
I mean, I'm first to tell you, I've created some creator enemies. I don't give a shit. I mean, like, I've created enemies all my life, but you're not going to silence me. You're not going to scare me. And I'm here. And,
Yeah,
sorry. And I'm well protected and I'm well skilled. So, like, keep your tactics elsewhere because they're not working over here. Because
yeah.
I'm a prankster, man. I followed the Grateful Dead. I'm a prankster. I've been pranking people way back. You can clown around all you want, but you ain't gonna prank on me. So,
Well, it's just gotten ridiculous. So everybody treat everybody with respect.
yeah, and like, don't provoke somebody and then cry wolf. Don't go back behind screenshot and go and title talent over this person and stuff and not think somebody's gonna hear about it and call you out on it. Because if you've been here long enough, everybody's watching and they're going to tell on you. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
don't be that one. Don't be that one to start trouble and then cry wolf.
Right. Well,
So
I hope
have
you
a
go
good night,
spend
Silky.
spend some time with your wife. Enjoy life. Forget about Delphi. Put it out of your mind for a few minutes. That's what I'm gonna do.
I need to for a few days. I need to till I see Ruckus. Like I've enjoyed being on though. It's been a lot of things to talk about, and I finally got some of it off my chest. Thanks
Well,
for
I'm glad.
thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Oh, no problem. All right, y'all. Thanks, because I'm going to give Jinx a break. And thank you all so much for coming. And thank you so much, 4Pitts. You had some wonderful information. And that's what it's about, is let's
Yeah.
get the truth out. And
Yeah,
that's all I'm about.
yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right,
Yeah.
man. You know, if you're gonna put something out, give us something to watch that we something towards the case, something
That's right.
about the case.
Exactly.
Save,
Exactly.
save the rest. If you don't want the drama and you don't want the lack of views on your channel, save the rest, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Peace.
Absolutely.
See you later.
All right. Good night, y'all. Remember to stay safe and always try to stay silky, for goodness sakes. Bye-bye.